Hello, my lovely and amazing students. I once again welcome you. My name is Eric, and today we have another WASSCE question from 2019 on bearings that I want us to solve. So we are all going to read the question together, then we see the approach that we are going to use in answering the question. So the points P, Q, and R are located such that Q is 15 kilometers south of P. So meaning there is a P point somewhere. So if I indicate here to be my P. Now Q is 15 kilometers south of P. So when I'm standing at P and I draw my cardinal point, I don't have a ruler here. So I'm going to use my free hand. But you should use a ruler to make it look nicer. So I'm standing at P and I'm told in a question that Q is 15 kilometers south of P. So just from P here, I can just, good. So assuming from here to here is 15 kilometers. This is just a free hand. We are only assuming. It's not accurate. Okay. So this point here now, here becomes Q. Now let's continue. R is 10 kilometers from P. From P. R is 10, so from P, standing at P, we can locate R. And the distance is 10 kilometers. Now, are we moving to the north, to the south, to the east, or west? Let's continue with the rest of the question to find out. So from P on the bearing of 270. So when I'm standing on P and I locate the bearing of 270, here is 0 degree. Here is 90 degree, 180. So 270 is here. So standing at here, we'll move this 10 kilometers. This should be shorter than this. So probably here. So this is 10 kilometers. And I can call that one R. So this point here is R. Now, since the question is only talking about 3 points P, Q, and R, now what we can do is that we can join R to Q. Since the question mentioned only these 3 points. So you take your ruler and you do your measurement. Please don't use your free hand. I'm using my free hand because as I'm speaking right now, I don't have any teacher's rule available. Is that okay? Now let's continue. So the first question. Calculate correct to 2 significant figures. The distance from Q to R. So QR. We want from here to here, what is the distance? Now I know that the angle here is 90 degrees. How do I know? It's 90 degrees. Because from 270, here is 180. Subtract 180 from 270, you are getting 90 degrees. So that angle there is 90. Then if this angle is 90, then I want you to look at this shape. This shape. There's a triangle, right? And the triangle with one of its interior angles being 90 degrees is what we refer to as a right-angled triangle. So this is a right-angled triangle. Here is 10 kilometers. Here is 15 kilometers. How do we find here? So we are going to use what we call Pythagoras theorem. So using Pythagoras theorem, we can therefore say that the 90 is facing here, and that is the longest side, which is the hypotenuse. We can therefore say that QR, which is the distance, squared is the same as taking RP squared plus PQ squared. Is that okay? All right. So now this is what we are looking for. QR squared. We don't know. But we know RP to be 10 squared. We know this to be 15 squared. Now 10 squared is giving us 100. 15 squared is giving us 225. So 100 plus 225 is giving us 325. Now we want to find QR squared. So how do we remove the square root sign? Let me clean here and continue from here. So to remove the square root sign, all that we need to do is that we write our QR. Then to remove the square, we bring the square root sign here. So 325. So here is squared. To remove it, we should multiply it by half. And remember, I told you any number to the power half is the same as the square root of that number. So let's take our calculator and check for the square root of 325. And that is giving us the square root of 325 is giving us 5 root 13, which is the same as 18.027. Then there's another 7, but the number that follows is 5, which I'll convert this one to 8 kilometers. Now, I was told in a question to correct my answer to 2 significant figures. So 2 significant figures is going to be 18 kilometers. Okay, so that is a solution for the I. Now let's look at I. The nearest degree, the bearing of Q from R. Now, bearing questions, the key word is always from R. So meaning that we'll go and stand at R, then we'll look for the bearing of Q. Now, this is the Q line. So from R, bearings are measured from the north. From this north pole till we meet the Q line, what is the bearing? We know just standing from here that here is 90 degrees, because here is 0, here is 90. But we don't know this smaller portion, so let me write theta again. Then, once we are able to find theta, we add theta to 90 to get that bearing. So let's quickly do that. All right, so, and let me explain this because students have issues here. Now, if this is my angle theta, then what it means is that where the 15 is, the distance of PQ is my opposite. And already we know that here is our hypotenuse. So automatically this side is the adjacent. And so we now know the opposite and the adjacent. And so which trig ratio should we use? And that is 2. So tan. And so tan theta is giving us the opposite, which is 15, over the adjacent, which is 10. So tan theta is giving us 15 on 10, 5 here, 3, 5 here, 2. Okay, so now theta is giving us the tan inverse of 3 on 2, which is the same as 1.5. The tan inverse of that. Let's use our calculator and find the tan You press shift, tan inverse of 1.5, which is the same as 3 on 2. It's giving us 56.3 degrees. So, meaning that this small portion is 56.3. But the question told us to find the bearing of Q from R. So, standing at R, where do we see the Q line? The Q line is here. And so, from R, that is the north of R till we meet that Q line. What is the bearing? We know from here to here is 90 degrees. This smaller portion is 56.3 degrees. So, we just have to add them. So, 90 degrees plus 56.3 degrees is giving us, so this is 90 plus 56.3, 146.3. So that is the answer. You can make your conclusion. Therefore, okay, so to the nearest degree is still 146 degree. Since the 3 is less than 5, we're not going to run it off. So to the nearest degree is 146 degree. And that is the bearing of Q from R. Take your time and go through the solution. If there is something that you don't understand, you can leave a comment in the comment section. If it becomes possible for me to contact you, I will leave my WhatsApp number for you to contact me for further explanation. Thank you, and let's meet in the next video. God bless.